on the 5 types of endurance in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. The ancients once said, "Failing to endure the small will ruin the great." In both daily life and turbulent times, endurance is not merely a virtue. It is a form of wisdom, a kind of strength that allows people to overcome adversity, maintain their grand ambitions, and accomplish great things. From Laozi and Confucius to the teachings of the Buddha, all praise the power of patience. Yet within Romance of the Three Kingdoms, where heroes clash and kingdoms rise and fall, the concept of endurance becomes even sharper, more profound. Some endure to hide their talents and wait for the right moment. Some endure to win people's hearts. Some endure even humiliation, all to protect a greater cause in the future. Are you curious who in the Three Kingdoms was the true master of endurance? And how many types of endurance existed in this deadly game of strategy and power? Let's dive into the 5 types of endurance in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. And if you love deep philosophical historical stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Jia Xu, the master of silent endurance. Jia Xu, a brilliant strategist, not only survived the perilous chaos of his time, but also left behind a legacy of peace and fulfillment. While many famed advisors like Guo Jia died young, Mao Jiaye was branded a traitor and Xu Yu died unjustly. Jia Xu became a symbol of concealed patience, a man who mastered the art of hiding ambition, choosing the right paths, and securing lasting success. So what made him different? Let's explore. During the Three Kingdoms era, when loyalty was constantly questioned, Jia Xu stood out. He served multiple warlords, Li Guo, Si Jiangshu, and finally, Cao Cao. This changing of masters raised doubts about his loyalty. Yet it was precisely his patience and foresight that helped him withstand rumors, maintain his position, and reach a rare, favorable end. Instead of letting emotions rule or fighting for power, he kept a low profile, avoided trivial conflicts, and, most importantly, wasn't blinded by short-term gains. This was the art of quiet endurance Jia Xu mastered. One of Jia Xu's standout traits was his ability to restrain emotions and hide his ambition. He rarely offered strategies publicly, never sought to be the top advisor of any faction, and avoided forming cliques or broad connections. Even in marriage, he did not seek powerful alliances to boost his status. He lived, simply spoke little, and contributed just enough to help his lord succeed. With every master from Li Jue to Cao Cao, Jia Xu clearly understood their nature and navigated each situation with subtlety. For example, when Li Jue offered him high office 3 times, Jia Xu declined, sensing the inevitable collapse of that regime. This decision preserved both his life and his reputation. His endurance was most evident in his relationship with Cao Cao, a master of suspicion always wary of those around him. While serving Jiangxiu, Jia Xu advised surrendering to Cao Cao instead of Yuan Shao, even though Yuan Shao controlled 4 provinces and had a stronger army. This decision revealed Jia Xu's strategic vision. He recognized Cao Cao as a wise leader, capable of unifying the realm, while Yuan Shao had only superficial strength. Cao Cao's eventual victory over Yuan Shao at Guandu proved Jia Xu right. Once under Cao Cao's command, Jia Xu remained modest, avoided power struggles, and never made enemies within the regime. As a result, he was consistently valued by Cao Cao and never faced danger. Another key story about Jia Xu was his role in Cao Cao's decision on succession. When Cao Cao hesitated between Cao Pi and Cao Qi Jia, Xu offered sharp, insightful analysis that influenced the decision to appoint Cao Pi as heir. This move not only solidified the foundation of the Wei dynasty, but also confirmed Jia Xu's status as a founding contributor. Yet, rather than exploiting the moment for personal gain, he stayed humble, avoided fame, and revealed no personal ambition. This was endurance at its highest form, knowing oneself, understanding others, and stopping at the right time. Jia Xu's patience didn't just help him survive. It earned him a peaceful life, a rare achievement for strategists of the era. While Guo Jia died young, Xu Yu met a bitter end, and Zhou Yu died in anger. Jia Xu lived out his days in serenity. He stayed out of power, struggles escaped harm from enemies, and most importantly, preserved inner freedom. This was no accident. It was the result of sharp intellect, far-sightedness, and a well-controlled heart. His story is a valuable lesson in the power of silent endurance. In modern life, where pressures and temptations constantly loom, learning to regulate emotions, ignore trivial gains, and patiently wait for the right moment is crucial. Jia Xu teaches us that to achieve great success, we must sometimes bow down, take a step back, and most importantly, stay true to our ideals. Sun Quan on enduring to lead and win loyalty. Hello, friends. Let's continue our journey through the 5 forms of endurance in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Today, we dive into the story of Sun Quan, the young ruler of Jiangdong, who used endurance not to simply withstand hardship, but to unite hearts and build a solid empire during chaotic times. While powerful leaders like Cao Cao and Liu Bei ruled through ambition and talent, Sun Quan emerged as a symbol of finesse and patience. Ascending to power at the age of 18, he faced skepticism from his officials and pressure from opposing forces. Yet he proved that endurance is not passive suffering. It is a leadership art, letting go of the small to achieve the great. Let's explore his inspiring journey and draw some powerful lessons. In the Three Kingdoms era, Jiangdong was a prosperous yet precarious land. After the death of his older brother, Sun Quan inherited leadership at a young age, just 18. With little political experience, he had to earn the trust of his court and deal with silent resistance from powerful local clans, especially the 4 great aristocratic families, the Gu Wei Lu and Zhang clans. Though outwardly loyal, these families sought to preserve their own influence and often challenged Sun Quan's legitimacy. Moreover, under his command were numerous talented but strong-willed generals, veterans like Huang Gai Han Dong and Zhou Tai, along with brilliant admirals like Zhou Yu, Lu Su, Lu Meng, and Lu Xun. While loyal, these men occasionally expressed disagreement or pushed boundaries. How did a young leader like Sun Quan manage to keep control? The answer lay in a wise blend of endurance, flexibility, and resolve. Sun Quan's endurance was not weakness. It was rooted in a clear vision to build a strong, united Jiangdong, capable of standing up to Cao Cao and Liu Bei. He understood that to achieve greatness, he needed to win hearts, to turn skeptics into allies, and inspire loyalty from his talented subordinates. Instead of imposing power or using force, he chose patience, listening, adapting, and skillfully handling conflicts. For example, when dealing with the great aristocratic families, Sun Quan avoided direct confrontation. Instead, he adopted a soft approach and gradually won them over by promoting talent from within their ranks. His patient strategy transformed passive opposition into true support, stabilizing the political scene in Jiangdong. In his relationships with his generals, Sun Quan displayed remarkable tolerance. Zhou Yu, a brilliant commander, often made decisions independently, sometimes overstepping his authority. Rather than reprimanding him, Sun Quan chose to respect Zhou Yu's talents and gave him autonomy, especially in critical battles like Red Cliffs. This trust led to Zhou Yu's full commitment and enabled the Sun-Liu alliance to win a historic victory over Cao Cao. Likewise, with Lu Meng and Lu Xun, Sun Quan showed a balance of deference and control. He let them shine while maintaining his own authority. Without this patience and trust, would such brilliant minds have served him so loyally? Sun Quan's endurance was also tested by external threats. When Cao Cao marched south with a massive army, many of Sun Quan's advisors urged him to surrender, but he patiently listened to the insights of Zhou Yu and boldly allied with Liu Bei, defying the odds. This decision, blending bravery with restraint, led to the legendary Battle of Red Cliffs in 208, securing Jiangdong's future and asserting Sun Quan's power. Sun Quan's journey proves that endurance is not merely putting up with hardship, it's letting go of the small to win the great. By 229, when he officially declared himself emperor and moved the capital to Jianye, he had transformed Jiangdong into a powerful force, standing equal with Wei and Shu. He became one of the longest reigning and longest living rulers of the Three Kingdoms era, no small feat in such a volatile time. His legacy was built not on raw power, but on strategic patience. Sun Quan's story offers timeless lessons in leadership and talent management. In today's world, when faced with disagreements or high-stress situations, his example reminds us that true strength lies in knowing when to listen, when to yield, and when to focus on the bigger goal. Cao Cao, enduring humiliation for a greater ambition. Hello, friends. We continue our journey through the forms of endurance in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Today we explore the story of Cao Cao, one of the most controversial yet legendary figures of the Three Kingdoms era. A master of strategy and ambition, Cao Cao dreamed of unifying the realm. But what truly defined him was his extraordinary ability to endure humiliation not out of weakness, but as a powerful means to protect his grand vision. In times of chaos, when both life and ideals were constantly threatened, Cao Cao endured countless defeats and insults, all to preserve the foundation of his empire. Let's delve into his dramatic story and uncover its timeless lessons. Cao Cao's rise did not begin with great power. Born into a eunuch-connected family, he was scorned by society and surrounded by dangerous court intrigues. Yet, through sharp intellect and unshakable will, he gradually climbed the ranks. Still, the road to sovereignty was riddled with humiliations, failures, and brushes with death. What set him apart was his willingness to endure not as a coward, but as a visionary who knew that sometimes you must bow to hardship to realize greatness. One of the clearest examples of Cao Cao's endurance is the failed assassination of Dong Zhuo. As a young man, he devised a solo plot to kill the tyrant who held the Han court hostage. The plan failed, and Cao Cao was exposed, facing near certain death. He feigned a gift of a precious dagger to escape. This act wasn't cowardice, it was wisdom. He knew that dying then would mean the end of his dream to reunite the realm. That moment of humility bought him time and a future. Cao Cao also endured personal insults with strategic restraint. When Yuan Shao attacked him, Yuan's subordinate, Chen Lin, wrote 3 scathing proclamations publicly, ridiculing Cao Cao and insulting his entire family. The attacks were so sharp that Cao Cao reportedly broke into a sweat, reading them, yet when he captured Chen Lin instead of executing him, Cao Cao spared his life and even recruited him. This move not only demonstrated magnanimity, but it was a calculated step to win hearts and convert foes into allies, a mark of enduring brilliance. The Battle of Red Cliffs in 208 was another milestone where Cao Cao's patience shone. After his crushing defeat by the Sun Liu alliance, he was pursued to a dead end. At Huarong Pass, he encountered Guan Yu, whom he had once favored. Cao Cao dismounted and reminded Guan Yu of past kindness, pleading for mercy. For someone as proud as Cao Cao, that act was monumental humility, but it saved his life, allowing him to return north and rebuild. Without that moment of endurance, his empire might have crumbled. Another famous example was at the Battle of Tong Pass, where Cao Cao fled from Ma Chao. In a desperate bid to survive, he shaved his beard and discarded his robe. The man who once commanded armies humbled himself to escape death. To Cao Cao, survival wasn't about ego. It was about preserving the chance to fight another day. His ability to endure disgrace to protect his ideals helped him strengthen Wei, turning it into the most powerful of the Three Kingdoms. The 2010 Romance of the Three Kingdoms series includes a memorable moment when rebuked by Chen Gong as a petty villain. Cao Cao calmly replied, "If being a righteous man means suffering humiliation and destruction, then I'd rather be a cunning hero to fulfill my ambition." This line sums up his worldview. He didn't care about being labeled virtuous or villainous. What mattered was the goal. For him, endurance was a tool, and it paid off. He attracted countless talented generals and scholars from Shun, Yu, and Jia Xu to Zhanglao and Shuchu, turning Wei into the mightiest kingdom of the era. Cao Cao's endurance was not just tolerance of insults, it was a tactical skill, transforming adversity into advantage. After each failure or humiliation, he learned, adjusted, and returned stronger. From forgiving Chen Lin to pleading with Guan Yu, Cao Cao consistently prioritized strategy over ego. He embodied the saying, "A man of great ambition knows when to advance and when to retreat." His endurance helped him survive the storm and build an empire that left an indelible mark on Chinese history. His story teaches a profound lesson about enduring humiliation in pursuit of higher goals. In today's world, where we're easily pulled into petty arguments or wounded by careless words, Cao Cao reminds us, sometimes we must lower our heads, set aside pride, and stay focused on what truly matters. Liu Bei, enduring with patience to build an empire. Hello, friends. We continue our journey into the many forms of endurance in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Today's spotlight is on Liu Bei, a name that instantly evokes the image of perseverance, patience, and an unbreakable will. Amidst the turmoil of the Three Kingdoms, Liu Bei did not start from a position of strength. Mocked repeatedly, defeated, and without a land of his own, he seemed doomed to obscurity. So how did this man, constantly battered by misfortune, rise to become a regional overlord and founder of the Shu Han Kingdom? The answer lies in his extraordinary patience, not just enduring hardship, but steadfastly holding on to his ideals and transforming adversity into opportunity. Let's uncover his inspiring path and the lessons it holds. In the chaos of the Three Kingdoms era, Liu Bei came from humble origins, a straw sandal weaver claiming distant Han imperial lineage, yet possessing neither wealth nor influence. For much of his life, he lived in defeat, relying on others for survival. Gongsun, Zan, Tao, Qian, Yuan, Xiao, Liu, Biao. At 46, when most would settle into obscurity, Liu Bei had no territory of his own, labeled the man who lost every battle. But his unwavering determination and patience set him apart. He never let scorn or defeat shake his dream of restoring the Han dynasty. Upholding righteousness and winning the people's trust, he patiently pursued his goal no matter how harsh the conditions. One of the clearest examples of Liu Bei's patience is the famous 3 visits to the thatched cottage. At that time, Liu Bei was already a well-known figure in his mid-40s, joined by sworn brothers Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, both renowned warriors. Meanwhile, Zhuge Liang was a 27-year-old recluse, unproven, despite his reputation. And yet Liu Bei, despite his age and stature, personally visited Zhuge Liang 3 times, humbling himself to win the strategist's support. No warlord of the time, not Cao Cao, Yuan Shao, or Sun Quan, would have shown such humility and perseverance. This wasn't just respect for talent, but a willingness to sacrifice ego and elevate the greater mission. That moment of endurance won him one of history's greatest advisors. Liu Bei's patience was also evident in how he handled Cao Cao, a brilliant and formidable rival. In one meeting, Cao Cao famously said, "In all the realm, only you and I are heroes." Cao Cao recognized Liu Bei's ambition, but Liu Bei concealed his intent, feigning fear and submission. He understood that revealing his true goals would either cost him his life or put him under lifelong control. This wasn't cowardice, it was wisdom. By biding his time, he preserved his life and continued chasing his dream. As Cao Cao once said, Liu Bei knew when to bend and when to rise. Liu Bei's story is one of lifelong persistence, what he himself might call a lifetime of patience. Despite defeat after defeat and years in exile, he never gave up. Not until nearly 50 did he finally break through at the pivotal Battle of Red Cliffs, where the Sun Liu alliance triumphed over Cao Cao. This victory granted Liu Bei the territory of Jingzhou, the foundation of Shu Han. By age 60 in the Battle of Hanzhong, he defeated Cao Cao, once again officially establishing himself as a major power. These milestones weren't luck. They were the fruit of decades of endurance struggle and lessons learned through loss. But Liu Bei's patience wasn't just about enduring enemies or setbacks. It was about staying true to his ideals. Even in dire times, he never abandoned his dream of reviving the Han. He cultivated an image of a benevolent ruler, winning hearts and drawing talented followers. Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Zhao Yun, and Zhuge Liang, all. From the famed Peach Garden Oath to the alliance with Sun Quan, Liu Bei consistently showed the traits of a noble leader, never giving up, always turning hardship into opportunity. That patience turned him from a man with nothing into one of the Three Kingdoms' foundational leaders. Liu Bei's story is a powerful lesson in the strength of patience. In our modern world where frustration and pressure are common, his life reminds us that true success demands persistence and sacrifice. He teaches us that no matter how dire the situation, as long as we hold firm to our purpose and refuse to give up, we can shape our destiny. Sima Yi, the Grand Master of supreme patience in the Three Kingdoms. Hello, friends. We've reached the penultimate chapter in our journey exploring the many forms of endurance in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Today, let's dive into the story of Sima Yi, the ultimate master of patience, a man often regarded as the most successful strategist of the Three Kingdoms era, thanks to his ability to hide and wait. In an age rife with intrigue and bloodshed, where brilliant tacticians like Guojia, Zhuge Liang, and Zhou Yu all met tragic ends, Sima Yi stood as an exception. Through astonishing endurance, he not only survived through 4 generations of Wei rule, but laid the foundation for the Jin dynasty. What enabled Sima Yi to achieve such a legacy? Let's explore his calculated journey and draw wisdom from his incredible restraint. In the backdrop of the Three Kingdoms, Sima Yi appeared as a mysterious figure, always concealing ambition, waiting for the perfect moment. Born into a noble family, he stood out from an early age for his intelligence and diligence. But he understood that talent alone wouldn't ensure survival in times of chaos. Endurance and subtlety were vital. Serving under 4 rulers of Wei Chao, Cao Cao, Pi Chao Rui, and Cao Feng, Sima Yi displayed legendary patience, always knowing when to advance, when to retreat, and when to disappear from view entirely. As a young man, Sima Yi faced his first great test suspicion from the ever-paranoid Cao Cao. Although Cao Cao recognized his brilliance, he also feared his ambition. Once Cao Cao even remarked, "Sima Yi is no ordinary man. He will cause trouble in the future." To avoid danger, Sima Yi chose humility, projecting unwavering loyalty. He never flaunted his talents or fought for power, even pretending to be sick to avoid being summoned too early. This discretion allowed him to survive while many gifted advisors perished for revealing too much. Under Cao Pi and Cao Rui, Sima Yi continued to serve as a general and strategist, playing crucial roles in major campaigns including defending against Zhuge Liang of Shu Han. Yet he remained reserved, never revealing personal ambition, especially during confrontations with Zhuge Liang. A formidable opponent, Sima Yi chose defensive tactics over direct conflict. At the Battle of Wujiang Plains, Zhuge Liang famously sent women's clothing to mock him. Instead of reacting with anger, Sima Yi calmly accepted the gift, even pretending to be amused. This cool-headedness not only disarmed Zhuge Liang's provocation, but preserved his army's strength. It was proof of his genius, understanding that sometimes doing nothing is the smartest move. It wasn't until the reign of Cao Feng, when Wei began to decline, that Sima Yi revealed the true depth of his strategy. Now middle-aged, he patiently bided his time while building influence. When Cao Shuang, a powerful regent, sought to sideline him, Sima Yi once again feigned illness, lying in bed to deceive his enemies. Cao Shuang, convinced he was no longer a threat, lowered his guard. Then, in 249, during the incident at Gaoping Tombs, Sima Yi struck, launching a sudden coup that eliminated Cao Shuang and seized control of the court. This masterstroke was the culmination of decades of silent endurance, the apex of his hide and weight philosophy. From that point, the Sima family began its rise, eventually founding the Jin dynasty. Sima Yi's patience wasn't just about enduring hardship or hiding ambition. It was about reading the times and seizing the right moment. He knew that acting prematurely in such a volatile era could lead to ruin. Instead, he chose persistence, gradually building power, winning trust, and waiting for the perfect opportunity. Even when mocked or doubted, Sima Yi remained calm, never letting emotions cloud judgment. His ability to outlast giants like Cao Cao, Zhuge Liang, and Cao Shuang made him the final victor in the Three Kingdoms' long power struggle. His story is a profound lesson in the power of patience and strategic timing. In our modern world, often obsessed with speed, instant results, and visible success, Sima Yi reminds us that patience and timing are often the greatest strengths. He teaches us that true success demands more than talent. It requires knowing when to act. His endurance was not passive. It was active, disciplined restraint aimed at optimal outcomes. Sima Yi's journey proves that patience isn't just about surviving. It's an art of winning under pressure. From a cautious advisor under Cao Cao's suspicion to the architect of a new dynasty, he showed that quiet persistence can topple even the most dominant of empires. What do you think of Sima Yi's endurance? Is he the ultimate model of strategic waiting, the master who knew how to win by holding back? Share your thoughts, and stay tuned for the final chapter in our Endurance in the Three Kingdoms series. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss any of our epic videos.